Next speaker for today is Ethan Nowak. Ethan Nowak is a professor of philosophy at Stanford. His research is on the intersection of philosophy of language, and he'll talk about his recent experience in Ukraine. He visited Kiev and
Hello, thanks very much for having me. It's an honor. Can't say, as Professor McFall said, I also am not in a position to say that it's a pleasure to be here. My work has to do with linguistic justice, so I've been interested in Ukraine for a very long time. I speak Russian, traveled frequently to Ukraine, and did research while speaking Russian. After the full-scale invasion, I guess I heard many people say to me, please don't speak Russian, could you please try to speak to us in Ukrainian? And so I started the process of switching from Russian to Ukrainian. I thought I would talk about what that process was like and how it interfaces with some of the things that I do in my research, but I woke up this morning and felt so bleak that I thought I would do something else. And I thought I would share a small story that I hope illustrates some of the ways in which we might come together to try and do something. So last summer in June, I was in Lviv at the Ukrainian Catholic University, and I was taking Ukrainian classes, and I met a retired Swedish soldier who was starting from scratch. She had no Slavic language background and wanted to learn Ukrainian, which is not an easy thing to do if you have no background in any Slavic language. And I said, why is it that you want to learn Ukrainian? He said, I don't think that Russia will win. I believe that Russia will not win. But if Russia were to win, I want it to be the case that at least some people somewhere will continue to speak Ukrainian. I thought this was kind of a strange view. There are roughly 40 million Ukrainians. It doesn't seem like the language is at great risk of going extinct. But I thought that it was an interesting way of approaching the task. And I thought that it illustrated a sense in which the person had hope. Now, it sounds paradoxical because he's planning for the worst. He's planning for a circumstance in which the Ukrainian language ceases to exist, except for one second language Ukrainian speaker who speaks fairly poorly, who lives somewhere in Sweden. But I thought, on a day as bleak as today, maybe there's something we could take from the example. So what I thought was that if we allow ourselves to be overcome by despair, if we allow ourselves to think that evil will prevail, that we will turn into some degenerate version of Russia where the democracy collapses and sort of the worst among us run the country, then there's a sense in which we make that outcome more probable. And as long as we're sort of not optimistic, but not resigned to the fact that the worst will happen, then we have sort of the psychic energy to do something.